Hello, students. So, I'm taking your biology class of 11th and 12th standard, both. This is going to be helpful for the students who are appearing for boards as well as NEET. NEET, because I'm going to be focusing totally on NCRT, and my series is going to be totally based upon NCRT, line by line, covering every chapter. So, without any delay, let's start our video. And please like and subscribe to my channel so that further whatever videos I'm going to upload, you'll be getting notified and be updated with your studies. So let's start. Let's begin our second chapter. First chapter is already been uploaded. The biological classification. Since the dawn of civilization, there have been many attempts to classify living organisms. It was done instinctively, not using criteria that were scientific, but born out of a need to use organisms for our own use, for food, shelter, and clothing. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt more scientific basis for classification. Very important point here. Who was the scientist? Aristotle. So what we saw that Aristotle, he was the first scientist and earliest to attempt, not the first, because first we'll see further that Linnaeus was the first to classify into two kingdoms, that was plant and animal. Then later, like Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis of classification. And what he did was he classified the plants into three categories, that is tree, shrub, and herbs. All right, and into animals into two groups, that have those that did have red blood cells and those that did not have red blood cells. Okay, so that's what is mentioned here. Aristotle plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs, and animal into two groups which had red blood cells and those that did not. Okay, and then later comes Linnaeus, who was the first to give classification into two groups, that is plant and animal. Then comes key. This system did not distinguish between the eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So eukaryotes is having a true nucleus and prokaryote, they did not have a nucleus, so they are termed so. Then unicellular, multicellular organism, and photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organism. Okay, so after Linnaeus classified the plant and animal, it did not have the classification based on eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular, and photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic. Okay, photosynthetic example here it is green algae, and non-photosynthetic it is fungi. Then later on we'll be seeing more examples. So now, students, please sit with a piece of paper and a pen and jot down all the important points so it will be easier for you to revise at the last moment. Alright, I am marking the important stuffs, but somehow it's getting erased. So retain those in your rough sheet or fair copy, wherever you want. Alright. Then now, the important word was here is it did not distinguish between prokaryotes, eukaryotes, unicellular, multicellular, photosynthetic, and non-photosynthetic. Then later, classification of organisms into plants and animal was easy and was done. It was easy to understand, but a large number of organisms did not fall into either category, obviously. Hence, the two kingdom classification used for a longer time was found inadequate. Alright. Beside cross morphology, a need was also felt for including other characteristics like cell structure, nature of the wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, methods of reproduction, and evolutionary relationship. Okay, so the earlier classification was all based upon gross morphology. Gross morphology means outer appearance. All right, and after that, that was found inadequate. So we also needed nature of wall, mode of nutrition, habitat, method of reproduction, and evolutionary relationship. the questions can be asked from here, that what are the what were the other requirements which were needed. So the option can be anything, and one evolutionary relationship can come, and that will be your answer. Or all the other options will come except one, which will be false. That will have to mark. Alright. Moving further, the classification system for living organisms have hence undergone several changes over time. Though plant and animal kingdoms have been a constant under all different systems, the understanding of what groups organisms be included under these kingdoms have been changing. The number and nature. These two are very important. That is the number, the number and the nature of other kingdoms. That was also important to be understood differently by different scientists. There can be a question from what were also to be understood by different scientists. Alright. Now moving further. We are coming to this table, which is very important. This is to be mugged up by all the students. We are seeing here that there were 5 kingdom of classification given. The first is Monera, second is Protista, then comes fungi, then Plantae, and then Animalia. Okay. So the difference of all these 5 kingdoms was based on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 classification systems are given in this table for all the 5 kingdoms. The first example is of cell type. It is very easy to remember that only Monera is prokaryote, that is, it lacks of a true nucleus, and other kingdoms are having a true nucleus. Then coming to cell wall, since it is having no nucleus, you can also remember this by having it's not like cell wall is absent here, but remember it is having a non-cellulosic cell wall. Alright. The others in Protista, the cell wall is present in some, and whereas it is absent in some. Alright. And fungi, it is present only within chitin or chitin, whatever you pronounce it as. Then in plant, the cellulosic cell wall is present, and animal mein cell wall is absent. Alright. So how can you remember that Monera, it is having a non-cellulosic cell wall. Protista, it is there in some and absent in some. And fungi, it is only present in chitin. Plantae, it is having cellulosic cell wall, and in animals, in us, it is absent. Coming towards nuclear membrane, since there is no nucleus earlier, there is no nuclear membrane. And in others, it is eukaryotic, so nuclear membrane will be present. Then body organization, it is cellular level, Monera. Then Protista is also cellular level. Fungi, it can be multicellular as well as a loose tissue. You can see how slowly it is, like the body structure is growing, right? First it is cellular, then it is cellular again, then it is multicellular or loose tissues. Then coming to tissue and organ for Plantae. And for animals, you can see tissue, organ, and organ system is developed here. Alright? Then mode of nutrition. Monera, it is autotrophic. Protista, also autotrophic. Fungi, it is heterotrophic, that is saprophytic or parasitic. Plantae, it is autotrophic again, that will photosynthesize by its own and provide produce its own food. And animals are totally heterotrophic, that is holozoic or saprophytic, depending on others for their food requirement. Monera is autotrophic, but it is chemosynthetic and photosynthetic and heterotrophic. Okay, heterotrophic, we saw fungi mein, right? That is saprophytic and parasitic. So same you will have to add here. That is autotrophic mein, it is chemosynthetic, photosynthetic and heterotrophic. Okay, and in Protista, it is autotrophic, but it is photosynthetic and heterotrophic. Alright, ठीक है. Monera mein all D was present: photosynthetic, chemosynthetic, and heterotrophic. Whereas in Protista only autotrophic and that heterotrophic is there. Alright. Moving further, there's another scientist name that is come. That is R.H. Whittek. The year is most important for you to remember. It is 1969. Alright. What is the year again? 1969. Right? Remember this and note it down. Alright. What he did was the five kingdom classification which we saw is given by R.H. Whittaker. Alright. The kingdom defined by him were named Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. The main criteria for classification used by him included cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, and phylogenetic relationship. Phylogenetic is nothing but it means to say the evolutionary relationship only, but it is more detailed, like it is more close version of evolutionary relationship between two organisms. Okay, the same as we saw here, that the need was present for evolutionary relationship, so it was developed later on and mentioned in the classification system of R.H. Whittaker. Mode of nutrition is here, body organization is here, nuclear membrane is here, cell wall is here, cell type is here, right? So these 5 classification systems you can mention. Okay. What's important here is R.H. Whittaker giving 5 kingdom classification. We saw in the table. Now, the 3-domain system has also been proposed that divides kingdom Monera into 2 domains, alright, leaving the remaining eukaryotic organism kingdom in the 3rd domain. And thereby a 6th kingdom classification was given. Later on, it was also proposed that here only 5 kingdom classification was here, but what it states that there are 3 domain, right? There are 3 domain in which Monera is divided into 2 domain, and Protista, the rest having a cell wall, is in 3rd domain. Correct? Monera is having 2 domains, and the others all eukaryotic organism is lying in 3rd domain. So all the 3-domain system gave us 6 kingdom classification. Now, let us look at the 5 kingdom classification system to understand the issue and consideration that influenced the classification system. Earlier, classification system included bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperm, and angiosperm under plant kingdom. Alright, what is importance? There are 7 points. That is, first is bacteria. Remember it as the body size growth. Okay, first bacteria, then blue-green algae, then fungi, then mosses, then ferns and gymnosperms, and then angiosperms. There'll be this plant kingdom which we'll be studying. So in that you will automatically be learning the name. So earlier in the 5 kingdom classification system, these all were lying under plant. The character that unified this whole kingdom was that all organisms included had a cell wall in their cells. Okay, so bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, they all were having cell wall in their cells. That is, they were having a cell walls, right? Moving further, this placed together groups which widely differed in other characteristics. Okay, so we only saw on basis of cell wall, right? that it is present in all, so everything is placed in the plant kingdom. But what about the other characteristics that has to be seen in consideration? For example, the evolutionary relationships we spoke about earlier, mode of nutrition, body organization, and reproductive system, right? So considering all those, further it was all corrected. It brought together the prokaryotic bacteria and blue-green algae, that is cyanobacteria, also known as, with other groups which were eukaryotic. Okay, eukaryotic means हमने सेल वॉल के बेसिस पे देखा पहली बात तो. अब न्यूक्लियस तो इसमें वी आर नॉट कंसिडरिंग, राइट? तो व्हाट इट इज यूकैरियोटिक, या इट हाँ, हमने यूकैरियोट और प्रोकैरियोट को ऐसा लाइक वी केप्ट इट टुगेदर if we only saw cell wall structure. So what it did was the prokaryotes और eukaryotes तो साथ में आ गए, plus it also grouped together the unicellular and multicellular organisms. For example, the Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra, they were all placed together under algae. Alright? Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra placed under algae. The questions can be formed here, alright? Please remember it thoroughly and jot it down in your notebook so that easily you can remember it. Seeing it once, twice, thrice, if you go through the same, you will be remembering it. This also did not differentiate between heterotrophs and autotrophs. Heterotroph examples, fungi, we saw earlier, and autotroph, that is the green plants. Okay? They also showed characteristics different in their wall composition. The fungi that had chitin in the wall, while the green plants, it had cellulosic cell wall. Alright? What it did was heterotrophs and autotrophs came together. They were having cell wall composition different. Fungi had chitinous cell wall, whereas plant had cellulosic cell wall. Alright? When such characteristics were considered, the fungi were placed in a separate kingdom. Now, अब हम जब ये सारे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स को देख लिए, स्टडी कर लिए, डिस्टिंग्विश कर लिए, तो वी हैड टू अरेंज इट सीक्वेंशियली अगेन. So they were again placed in separate kingdom called kingdom fungi. Okay? So kingdom fungi का बन गया. अब इससे chitinous cell wall अलग हो गया और cellulosic cell wall अलग हो गया. Plant से निकल के आ गया बाहर fungi, है ना? So kingdom fungi में all done. Now all prokaryotic organisms were grouped together under kingdom Monera, and all prokaryotic organisms, they were grouped together under kingdom Monera, and the unicellular eukaryotes organisms, they were placed under kingdom Protista. Okay, we saw in the table earlier, same way. Now kingdom Protista has brought together Chlamydomonas, chlorella, earlier placed in algae within plant. We saw ऊपर में example we saw, right? ऊपर Chlamydomonas was placed in the algae. Then chlorella was also placed in the kingdom algae. And so the chlorella and Chlamydomonas both, which were earlier placed in the kingdom algae, sorry, not kingdom, it was placed under algae under the plant kingdom, alright? With Paramecium and amoeba, which were placed earlier in the animal kingdom. So अब ये हमारा fungi kingdom क्या क्या, जो कि Chlamydomonas और chlorella था plant में, और Paramecium और amoeba था जो animal में, उसको separate करके ले आया under the kingdom fungi. Alright? Moving further, it has put together organisms which in earlier classifications were placed in different kingdoms. Right? This happened because the criteria for classification changed. This kind of changes will take place in future too, depending on improvement in our understanding of characteristics and evolutionary relationships. So over time, it can change in our future as well. Over time, an attempt has been made to evolve a classification system which reflects not only the morphological, physiological, and reproductive similarities, but also the phylogenetic, that is based on evolutionary relationship. I told you, right? Phylogenetic means the evolutionary relationship. In this chapter, we will study characteristics of kingdom Monera, Protista, fungi of Whittaker system of classification. ठीक है? हम इस चैप्टर में टोटल विटेकर सिस्टम का क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम पढ़ेंगे. विटेकर ने हमें 5 किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम दिया था. सो सबसे पहले वी विल सी अबाउट द किंगडम Monera. So now the kingdom Monera. Now as we see the kingdom Monera, let me make it easier for you. Monera से remember bacterias. Okay, bacterias are the sole member of this kingdom, and they are mostly they are most abundant microorganisms present on the earth. Alright, so bacteria occurs almost everywhere. If you take a handful of soil, then there will be hundreds of bacteria in that. Alright, so they can live. You can find bacteria in any harsh environment. Okay, whether it is hot springs, deserts, snow, or even in the deep oceans where very few other life forms can survive. जहाँ डीप ओशन में बहुत कम लाइफ फॉर्म्स मिलते हैं वहाँ तक तुम्हें बैक्टीरियाज पाए जाते हैं. तो मेनी ऑफ देम कैन लिव इन या फिर ऑन अदर ऑर्गेनिजम्स एज पैरासाइट्स. ओके, even in your stomach there are many bacteria found. Alright, so bacteria are grouped under 4 categories. The first is cocci, bacilli second, spirilla third, and vibrio fourth. Okay, what it is? First is spherical shape, that is cocci or spherical coccus. Okay, remember it, like COCCI. So there is O coming in between. Remember with that, it is spherical in shape. Second is rod shape, bacillus. There is 2 double L in this, so remember it by rod shape. Okay. The third is bacillus is correct. Then third is the comma shaped vibrio. Right, vibrio, it is very easy to remember. Comma shape matlab vibrio. ठीक है. And the other is spiral shape, that is spirillum bacteria. Okay, spirilla has flagellum. Remember the diagrams here. Okay, sometimes it can interchange the spore into that flagellum and flagellum into the spore. Or so better remember it very carefully. The diagrams, it can be asked to identify as well. Now, though the bacterial structure is very simple, they are very complex in behavior. Structure तो simple है, but उनका जो behavior है, it is very complex. That's how they can survive in very harsh environments, right? So compared to many other organisms, bacteria as a group can show the most extensive metabolic diversity. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic, that is, they can synthesize their own food and inorganic substance from the inorganic substance. Okay, there is a question that can be found here. The bacteria can synthesize the food from what? So from inorganic substance, you know. They may be photosynthetic autotroph or chemosynthetic autotrophic. Okay, first is your bacteria can be autotrophs. Autotrophs may, they can be photosynthetic autotroph or they can be chemosynthetic autotrophs. And the vast majority of bacteria, they are heterotrophs. Okay, that is, they depend upon other organisms or on dead organic matter for food. Okay, we are done with kingdom Monera now. Let's move to no, we are not done with the kingdom Monera. We are yet under kingdom Monera and we are doing Archaebacteria. Then we'll see Eubacteria. Then we'll move to kingdom Protista. Okay? Archaebacteria and Eubacteria are the examples of kingdom Monera. Now, moving towards archaebacteria. These bacteria are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats, such as extreme salty areas known as halophiles, hot spring areas known as thermoacidophiles, and marshy areas known as methanogens. Okay, the bacteria are known as halophiles, thermoacidophiles, and methanogens. Halophiles is for salty areas. Thermoacidophile is for hot springs. You can relate it with thermal and hot, right? And marshy areas for methanogen. M for marshy and M for methanogen. Now, archaebacteria, they differ from other bacteria in having a different cell wall structure, alright? A different cell wall structure. You need to remember this, that archaebacteria is having a different cell wall structure. Because coming towards eubacteria, we'll see there is, the different term is very important here, because in eubacteria, the cell wall structure is of rigid type, alright? To differentiate it, alright? And then this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme condition. Okay? Don't mistake that rigid cell wall structure for eubacteria as their survival condition in extreme condition. Okay? It is always a different cell wall structure for survival in extreme condition. Okay? Now, methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffaloes, and they are responsible for the production of methane. Methane is a form of biogas. How they are found? From the dung of these animals. Now, moving towards eubacteria, we'll see there are thousands of different eubacteria. Eubacteria is also known as true bacteria. Okay, so if they say true bacteria or eubacteria, if to say, they are characterized by presence of a rigid cell wall. As I said above, it is having a rigid cell wall structure. And if they are motile, they'll have a flagellum. Likewise, how we humans have legs and hands for the locomotive movements, since they are at a cellular stage, they are having a flagellum. Okay, if they have motile body. The cyanobacteria, they are referred to as blue-green algae. Okay, in the earlier table we have seen they have chlorophyll A. Now, chlorophyll A is similar, cyanobacteria is having chlorophyll A similar to the green plants and are photosynthetic autotroph. Because they have chlorophyll A, which is similar to having in green plants, they are also photosynthetic autotrophs. ठीक है? मतलब light they make their own home. Now, cyanobacteria, they are unicellular. Okay, cyanobacteria, they are unicellular, and they can be colonial, filamentous, or and they are living in freshwater, marine water, or terrestrial water. Okay, they are referred to as freshwater, marine, or terrestrial algae. Now, cyanobacteria, remember their characteristics. They are first unicellular, second colonial or filamentous. Now, colonial means they live in a colony, forming a spherical structure. Okay? This is the meaning of colonial. What is filamentous? Filamentous is, like as you can see in this picture. Okay? In this picture, this is forming a thread-like structure. है ना? Wait, I'll show you properly. This is the whole thread-like structure. Alright. So filamentous mean each cyanobacteria is connected towards each other from end to end point. Alright. किसी का starting point is the end point for the other. ऐसे करके they are connected in a whole thread-like sequence. This is known as filamentous structure. Alright. So what cyanobacteria looks like? They are unicellular, they are colonial or filamentous, and they are freshwater, marine or terrestrial algae. ठीक है? Now, the colonies are generally surrounded with gelatinous sheath. So the colonies of these are surrounded with a gelatinous sheath. The gelatinous sheath का नाम is most important here. That is a mucilaginous sheath here. This one. Remember it. What it is? Mucilaginous sheath. है ना? Now let's see further. They often form blooms in polluted water bodies. Okay? They form blooms. What? Blooms. Blooms means like you're visiting a smaller pond or a lake which is having a green outer surface. Like the surface of the water, it will be visible very greenish due to some green growth. Okay, they appear a small plant like. So that is only formation of the bloom of cyanobacterial. Okay. Some of these organisms, they are helpful in fixing of atmospheric nitrogen with specialized cell called heterocytes or heterocytes. ठीक है? Examples are nostoc and anabina. Most important examples noted down in your notebook or mark it in your textbook. Now, what it says here, I'll tell you what's the major difference. We have seen photosynthetic autotroph. One, we are about to see chemosynthetic autotrophs and then heterotrophic autotrophs. Say. Third is heterotrophic autotroph. तीनों में नाइट्रोजन फिक्सिंग का प्रोसेस अलग अलग तरीके से बताया हुआ है. मतलब प्रोसेस नहीं, बट इट हैज टॉक्ड अबाउट नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन in all three. But if you are given two examples, that is nostoc and anabina, you will always remember it as the example of photosynthetic autotrophs. What's the difference between photosynthetic autotroph is it is producing and fixing its own nitrogen. It is fixing the nitrogen by production by the light, okay, and producing its own See, what happens is जब हम लोग नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन का बात कर रहे हैं तो नाइट्रोजन क्यों फिक्स करता है कोई भी प्लांट? इट इज टू बिल्ड द एसेंशियल कंपाउंड्स फॉर द प्लांट्स या फिर खुद के लिए. ये जो एल्गेज हैं ये खुद के लिए एसेंशियल कंपाउंड्स फॉर्म करते हैं सच एज प्रोटीन्स, अमाइनो एसिड, क्लोरोफिल्स एंड न्यूक्लिक एसिड. न्यूक्लिक एसिड में क्या आ गया? डीएनए आ रहा है. ठीक है, वी आर गोइंग टू अ लिटिल डीपर. So just listen कि नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन क्यों कर रहा है? इट इज इन ऑर्डर टू बिल्ड दी एसेंशियल कंपाउंड. ओके, अब ये कंपाउंड बिल्ड करने के लिए हम ये फोटोसिंथेटिक ऑटोट्रॉप्स है, तो ये खुद के लिए बिल्ड कर रहा है. ठीक है, खुद से ही बिल्ड कर रहा है. कीमोसिंथेटिक में क्या हो रहा है कि इट इज यूजिंग दी इनऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस हियर. ठीक है, और हेटेरोट्रॉपिक बैक्टीरिया में क्या हो रहा है कि वो खुद से वो लाइक इट इज नॉट मेकिंग दी नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन, वो खुद के लिए नहीं कर रहा है, बट ये पैरासिटिक फॉर्म में ये दूसरे प्लांट के लिए कर रहा है. आगे एग्जांपल देखोगे तुम नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन ऑफ इन लेग्यूमिनस प्लांट्स. तो दिस विल बी दिस मेजर डिफरेंस इन ऑल थ्री. एक फोटोसिंथेटिक ऑटोट्रॉप है, दूसरा भी ऑटोट्रॉप है लेकिन वो कीमोसिंथेटिक है, और तीसरा तो हेटेरोट्रॉप ही है. ठीक है, कीमोसिंथेटिक क्या होता है ना कि दे आर दी ऑटोट्रॉपिक. ठीक है, बट दे फिक्स नाइट्रोजन टू बिल्ड देयर ओन प्रोटीन्स एंड न्यूक्लिक एसिड सेम एज फोटोसिंथेटिक ऑटोट्रॉप. बट द डिफरेंस इज ओनली कि ये इनऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस यूज कर रहे हैं और ऊपर में ऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंस यूज करेंगे, बट दिस इज नॉट मेंशन्ड हियर इन द टेक्स्ट बुक. और हेटेरोट्रॉपिक में क्या होता है कि नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन इज डन फॉर द प्लांट होस्ट. ठीक है, ये है डिफरेंट. नाउ लेट्स मूव फर्दर, लेट्स रीड इट आउट. chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidizes various inorganic substances such as nitrate, nitrite and ammonia. तो inorganic substances के example के भी क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं यहाँ पे कि what are the three inorganic substances? Nitrates, nitrites and ammonia. कभी कभी यहाँ पे एक फोर्थ एग्जाम्पल भी रहेगा, वो भी नाइट्रोजन से ही रिलेटेड नेम रहेगा, तो डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज. इट इज ऑल्सो नाइट्रेट, नाइट्राइट्स एंड अमोनिया. एंड दे यूजेस नाउ. अब इनऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस यूज करते हैं ना, उसको ऑक्सीडाइज करते हैं. अब इस प्रोसेस में इनऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंसेस क्या हो गए हमारी, है नाइट्राइट, नाइट्रेट्स एंड अमोनिया. इसको ऑक्सीडाइज करते हैं. अब इसको ऑक्सीडाइज करने के टाइम पे जो भी एनर्जी हमारा प्रोड्यूस होता है, दैट एनर्जी is only used for production of ATP. ठीक है? They play a great role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. तो chemosynthetic autotroph हमारा प्रोडक्ट्स को रिसाइकल करता है. ठीक है? Nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur. Alright? Moving towards heterotrophic bacteria. Guys, please mark it down in your textbook as well and jot down the smaller point ताकि आपको बाद में अच्छे से याद रहे. Now, coming towards heterotrophic bacteria, they are most abundant in nature. ठीक है? They are most abundant in nature. तो हम लोग क्या we can conclude from here कि नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन जो हमारा कीमोसिंथेटिक ऑटोट्रॉप्स कर रहे हैं या फिर फोटोसिंथेटिक ऑटोट्रॉप्स कर रहे हैं, दैट इन होल लाइक जब एक लेवल पे हम लोग देखें ना, एक स्केल पे देखें, तो जितना नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन हमारा ये दोनों ऑटोट्रॉप्स कर रहे हैं उससे कई ज़्यादा हमारे पूरे एटमॉस्फेयर में नाइट्रोजन फिक्सेशन का काम हेटरोट्रॉपिक बैक्टीरियाज कर रहे हैं. ऑलराइट, सो द मेजॉरिटी आर दैट्स व्हाई दे आर मोस्ट अबंडेंट इन नेचर. वी कैन कंक्लूड फ्रॉम दैट. राइट, सो द मेजॉरिटी आर important decomposers. Since they are heterotropic, they are the majority in this also is the decomposers. Many of them has significant impact on human affairs. They are helpful in making curd from milk, production of antibiotics, fixing nitrogen in legume, fixing nitrogen in legume roots, etc. Some are pathogens causing damage to human being and crops. ये heterotropic bacteria हैं, ये मोस्टली डिकम्पोज ऑफ होते हैं और कोई कोई पैथोजन कॉजिंग भी होते हैं जो कि डैमेज करते हैं ह्यूमन बींग को. पैथोजेंस आर ऑलवेज डैमेजिंग नेचर, है ना. तो ह्यूमन बींग्स, क्रॉप्स, फार्म्स एंड एनिमल्स एंड पेट्स, दे ऑलवेज कॉज हार्म टू देम. नाउ व्हाट इज द एग्जांपल हियर? CTTC. Okay, this is how you learn. Chlorella, typhoid, tetanus and citrus canker. CTT. This is the trick that you can't remember. ठीक है? Now, bacteria reproduce mainly by fission. मतलब इसमें asexual reproduction हो रहा है. But sometimes under unfavorable conditions, alright? Under which unfavorable conditions? Only sometimes. Majorly तो asexual reproduction हो रहा है fission के थ्रू, but unfavorable condition होगा जब, तो उसमें क्या होगा? They'll produce a spore. They also reproduce by sexual reproduction. यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने बात कर लिया asexual का, मोस्टली वो हो रहा था. Unfavorable में पोर्स भी बन रहे थे. अब sexual reproduction भी हो रहा है. तो reproduce by sort of sexual reproduction, sort of, not proper sexual, but a kind of sexual reproduction, because यहाँ पे the primitive type of DNA transfer हो रहा है from one bacterium to another. अब किसी का जीनोम हम चेंज कर रहे हैं, मतलब वो मिक्स हो रहा है दूसरे जीनोम से, so that's a sort of sexual reproduction only, right? अब यहाँ पे most important example आ रहा है, या फिर most important note you can say that, कि mycoplasma are the organisms that completely lack a cell wall. They are the smallest living cell. पहला point तो था कि they completely lack a cell wall. Second point is they are smallest living cells and can survive without oxygen. Third point. ठीक है, many mycoplasma, they're pathogenic in animals and plants. So what nature is of mycoplasma? First, they lack cell wall. Second, they are smallest living cell known. Third, they can survive without oxygen. And fourth is that they are pathogenic in animals and plants. ठीक है, ऊपर में हमने क्या एग्जाम्पल देखा था कि पैथोजन कॉजिंग बैक्टीरिया जो होते हैं उनके एग्जाम्पल CCTD, दैट इज क्लोरेला, सिट्रस कैंकर, टाइफॉइड एंड टेटानस और टेटनस. ठीक है, नाउ लेट्स मूव टुवर्ड्स किंगडम प्रोटिस्टा. हमने अब तक मोनेरा देखा था, अब हम देख रहे हैं किंगडम प्रोटिस्टा. हम लोग 5 किंगडम क्लासिफिकेशन सिस्टम में है जो कि was given by R.H. Whittaker. Second kingdom is about Protista. It is a single cell eukaryote. अब single cells eukaryotes इसलिए कह रहे हैं क्योंकि earlier we were having in kingdom Monera, it was having all the prokaryotes, whether it is single cell और multicellular. ठीक है, तो अब इसमें single cell eukaryotes जो भी हैं, they are all placed under kingdom Protista. But boundaries of this kingdom are also well defined. What may be a photosynthetic protistian to one biologist may be a plant to another, है ना. कोई इसे प्लांट बोल देगा, कोई बोलेगा कि अरे ये तो प्रोटिस्टा है, प्रोटिस्टियन है, ऐसा करके. तो इन दिस बुक वी इंक्लूड क्रिस्टोफाइट्स, डाइनोफ्लेजिलेट्स, यूग्लिनोइड्स, slime mouse and protozoans under kingdom Protista. How will you remember this? In sequence. You guys know this exam or CDS. तो CD, S, D और S के बीच में ये लगा दो. ठीक है, कंबाइंड डिफेंस सर्विस का जो एग्जाम होता है तो उसके बीच में लाइक डोंट रिमेंबर द एग्जाम, ओके, जस्ट रिमेंबर द ट्रिक आई एम गिविंग यू so that you can remember it in a sequence. C, D, E, S, alright? So that's how Christophites, dinoflagellates, euglenoids and slime mouse. And there is again one more protozoans. ठीक है, C, D, E, S. अब there is a last T. E and P is additional here for you to remember. Now, moving. Members of Protista are primarily aquatic. This kingdom forms a link with other dealing with plant animals and fungi. This is actually connecting a link. Okay, this kingdom is basically linking the plant, animal and fungi all together. Being eukaryote, the Protistian cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. ठीक है, since they are eukaryote, they are having a well-defined body of a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. बाकी भी जो भी उसमें organelles रहते हैं, जैसे प्लांट वाले में तुम देखोगे कि माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया है या फिर जो भी है बहुत सारी चीजें, तो these all are membrane bound in this. Okay, some have flagella or cilia. For their movement, they are having flagella or cilia. In Monera, we had seen that Eubacteria was having flagellum. This is having a flagella as well as cilia. Protists reproduce asexually and sexually by process involving cell fusion and zygote formation. Ab ऊपर we had seen that there was a sentence saying that they produce majorly asexually, but there was a sort of sexual reproduction also happening, and in unfavorable conditions they were producing a spore also. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि they produce asexually and sexually by cell fusion and zygote formation. Point to be noted that cell fusion it is saying, okay, not fission. Asexually it is producing by fission, but sexually it is by cell fusion. Okay, because यहाँ 2 cell fuse हो रहे हैं, 2 genome fuse हो रहे हैं. So that's a sort of sexual reproduction, how we saw earlier. Now, examples में हम लोग क्रिस्टोफाइट्स पे आ रहे हैं. इसमें 4-5 कुछ important points है that is basically for the formation of question. ठीक है? This group includes diatoms and golden algae. Okay, क्रिस्टोफाइट्स क्या होते हैं कि they include diatom and golden algae. Golden algae are also known as desmites. Here is your 2-point made. First is diatom or golden algae. Golden algae, second point is golden algae is also known as desmites. ठीक है? They are found in fresh water as well as marine environment. So another questions, the questions can be found even on based on what kind of environment the organisms are found in. तो ये फ्रेश वाटर में मिलते हैं, मरीन एनवायरनमेंट में मिलते हैं. They are microscopic and float passively in water current. Obviously, they'll be microscopic क्योंकि we are yet in a very cellular level of study. Okay? तो most of them are photosynthetic. अब इसमें धीरे धीरे आगे बढ़ रहे हैं ना, तो मोस्ट ऊपर में तो हमने देखा था कि फोटोसिंथेटिक भी था, कीमोसिंथेटिक भी था, हेटेरोट्रॉपिक भी था. अब इसमें भी मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर फोटोसिंथेटिक. अबव वाले में most of them were heterotroph, है ना? In diatoms, see, I'm telling the differences so that you can even recall the previous one. But don't get confused between the previous one and here. This things. ठीक है? So most of them are photosynthetic. In diatoms, the cell wall form 2 thin overlapping shells. Again, important point here. 2 thin overlapping shells are formed here in diatom, which fit together as in a soap box. Like how you have soap boxes, right? Like with covers, you can open it and then again you can put it back, fit it together. So that's how it is, having a structure of a soap box having 2 thin overlapping shells. They overlap each other. The walls are embedded with silica. Again, the point कि the walls, they are embedded with silica. And thus the walls are indestructible. तो सिलिका जिसमें यूज होता है, they become tough to break. So that's how they are embedded with silica in the walls, so they become indestructible. Thus, diatoms have left behind large amount of cell wall deposits in their habitat. तो जब diatoms होते हैं, diatoms मर भी जाते हैं, तो उनका जो सेल वॉल कॉम्पोजिशन सिलिका का था, वो सेल वॉल रिमेन रहता है. बहुत सारे ऐसे सेल वॉल डिपॉजिट्स हो चुके हैं. This accumulation over billion of years is referred to as diatomaceous earth. ठीक है? अब इतना ना हमारा इतना लाइक accumulate हो चुका है ये सेल वॉल इनका from billions of years कि now the earth is referred to as diatomaceous earth. Very important point. Diatomaceous earth, alright? Diatomaceous. Okay? So, being gritty, this soil is used in polishing, filtration of oil and syrups. Okay? Being gritty in nature, they are used in polishing. Okay? Like it has a very shiny surface. Smooth surface. ऐसा like polishing effect आता है उससे. तो they are used in polishing, filtration of oil and syrup. Diatoms are the chief producers in the ocean. Who are the chief producers in the ocean? The question can be asked. It is always the diatoms. अगर diatoms नहीं है तो class वहाँ पे दिया रहेगा क्रिस्टोफाइट्स, है ना? हमने क्या क्या देखा क्रिस्टोफाइट्स में? First, they were having the groups of diatoms and golden algae. Second, golden algae is also known as desmite. Third, they are found in fresh water as well as marine environment. Fourth, they are microscopic and they float passively. They float passively. The word passively here is also most important. Most of them, they are photosynthetic in nature, mostly. Alright? Diatomaceous earth बनाता है ये. इसका cell wall का composition is having of embedded silica. That's why they are indestructible, and they are having a two thin overlapping shells. Okay, the cell wall forms two thin overlapping shells. Alright? ठीक है? They are used in polishing, filtration of oil, and syrups. ये सब है. And the last important point is they are the chief producers of the ocean. है ना? चलो आगे बढ़. Dinoflagellates. These organisms are mostly marine. They are mostly marine. ऊपर में क्या था कि they were freshwater marine environment. Now these organisms are mostly marine and photosynthetic. There's no fresh water in this, alright? Only marine and photosynthetic. They appear yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending upon the main pigment present in the cell. तो किसी चीज का कलर कैसे आता है? Depending upon the pigment it consists of. Plant is having green color depending upon chlorophyll. So अब इसमें इसका कलर येलो रहेगा, ग्रीन रहेगा, ब्राउन रहेगा, ब्लू रहेगा, रेड रहेगा. Very colorful in nature, you know. So इनके pigments will depend upon the type of pigment present in their cells. The cell wall has stiff cellulose plate on outer surface. See, related with plant. Because it is relating with plant, it is photosynthetic in nature. Second, it has pigments. Okay, it has pigments जो कि उनके कलर को डिनोट करता है कि what type of color it will be having. Third, इनके सेल वॉल में स्टिफ सेलुलोज प्लेट रहेंगे. ठीक है, दे आर स्टिफ इन नेचर बट सेलुलोसिक प्लेट्स रहते हैं इनके सेल वॉल में, है ना. प्लांट्स आर हैविंग सेल वॉल. द प्लांट सेल वॉल इज कंसिस्टिंग ऑफ सेलुलोसिक मेम्ब्रेन, राइट. हमने देखा था ऊपर टेबल में. मोस्ट ऑफ देम हैव टू फ्लैजेलास. डायनोफ्लैजेलेट्स, रिमेंबर इट इज नॉट ऑलवेज, इट इज हैविंग मोस्ट. ठीक है, मोस्ट वर्ड है यहाँ पे ये. तो most of them have two flagellas. One lies longitudinally, मतलब like this it will lie, and one lies transversely between the furrow of the wall plates. Okay, furrow between the wall plates क्या? एक ये स्ट्रक्चर है, एक ये स्ट्रक्चर है. अब इन दोनों के जो ये है ना, यहाँ पे ऐसे ये ट्रांसवर्सली लाई करता है सेकेंड वाला. ठीक है. Very often रेड डायनोफ्लैजेलेट का एग्जाम्पल क्या है? गोनियालैक्स. ठीक है. अगेन वन क्वेश्चन पॉइंट. व्हाट इज गोनियालैक्स known as, referred to as red dinoflagellates, undergo such rapid multiplication that they make sea appear red. sea red हो रहा है तो जब tide आ रहा है तो red tide they are known as. Okay, toxins released by such large numbers may even kill other marine animals such as fishes. So they are so toxic in nature that they can kill they become harmful to other marine fishes, marine animals. है ना? Moving towards euglenoids. Majority of them are freshwater again here, found in stagnant water. Important word is stagnant water here. Majority of them are freshwater. ऊपर भी majority of them freshwater, but they were photosynthetic. Here, majority of them are found in freshwater organisms in stagnant water. ठीक है. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle. What's the pellicle? It is a protein-rich layer. Or what is the protein-rich layer known as? It is known as pellicle, which makes their body flexible. Pellicle, flexible. Flexible pellicle, protein. Alright? They have two flagellas, likewise above we saw, but ऊपर में they were equal, or they may be unequal. It is not stated, but यहाँ पे it is purely mentioned कि one is short and one is long. Though they are photosynthetic in presence of sunlight, when deprived of sunlight, they behave as heterotrophs. ऊपर में mostly they were all photosynthetic in nature, right? All photosynthetic in nature, right? Not mostly, but all were photosynthetic only. That's how they were, like, they made the sea appear red because it was all floating on the surface regions, है ना? So euglenoids, they are mostly photosynthetic, but they can become heterotroph in deprived sunlight. The pigments of euglenoids are identical to those present in higher plants. ऊपर में it was photosynthetic, इतना ही प्लांट से रिलेट कर रहे थे हम लोग को, पिगमेंट्स प्रेजेंट हो रहे हैं, कलर दे रहे हैं. यहाँ पे we are seeing कि हायर प्लांट्स के जो भी पिगमेंट्स है they are similar to those of euglenoids. Example euglenoids का euglena. Now moving to slime mold. Slime molds are saprophytic protists. ठीक है, they are what? Saprophytic. अब तक we were seeing autotrophic या फिर majorly autotrophic, but now it is totally saprophytic. Slime molds, saprophytic. SS. Okay. The body moves along decaying twigs and leaves. Now, since they are saprophytic, the body will be moving around decaying twigs and leaves, engulfing organic materials. तो ये क्या करते हैं कि ये engulf कर लेते हैं. ओके, लाइक हाउ अमीबा क्या करता था ना, engulf करता था ना. अगर तुम्हें अमीबा का स्ट्रक्चर पता हो कि वो खुद के ही स्ट्रक्चर को ऐसे सराउंड कर लेता था, वो engulf कर लेता था. तो लाइकवाइज यहाँ पे लेट्स सी द डायग्राम हियर. दिस C is a slime mold, just like amoeba it is, है ना. ऊपर में क्या था, euglenoids. One is having short flagella and the other is longer flagella, है ना. तो अब slime molds are what we saw. They are saprophytic in nature. They move along the decaying twig and leaf. They engulf organic material. ठीक है, नॉट इनऑर्गेनिक. इनऑर्गेनिक नहीं है, ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल. व्हाट डू दे इनगल्फ? ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल. ठीक है. अंडर सुटेबल कंडीशंस दे फॉर्म अ aggregation called plasmodium which may grow on and spread over several feet. सुटेबल कंडीशन में क्या होता है कि these slimers they फॉर्म एन अग्रीगेशन, मतलब दे ऐसा अग्रीगेट स्ट्रक्चर, मतलब एक साथ आकर के लाइक दे फॉर्म अ कलेक्टिव स्ट्रक्चर often known as plasmodium which may grow and spread over several feet. ओके, इतना वो ऐसे कलेक्ट होते 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 इतना बड़ा बन जाता है कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा लाइक इट इज ऑफ हैविंग अ सेवरल फीट हाइट. ओके, ड्यूरिंग अनफेवरेबल, ये तो फेवरेबल का था कि फेवरेबल में एक अग्रीगेट स्ट्रक्चर बनता है नोन एज प्लाज्मोडियम एंड विच इज ऑफ सेवरल फीट. अब अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन में क्या होता है कि द प्लाज्मोडियम डिफरेंशिएट्स एंड फॉर्म फ्रूटिंग बॉडी. फेवरेबल कंडीशन में वो फॉर्म हो गया प्लाज्मोडियम. अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन में प्लाज्मोडियम ब्रेक हुआ. ओके, दे डिफरेंशिएट एंड फॉर्म्स फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज बेरिंग स्पोर्स एट द टिप. रूटिंग बॉडी बना लेते हैं and they'll bear the tip पे they'll be bearing spores. These spores possess true walls. Important point ये है कि प्लाज्मोडियम में ट्रू वॉल नहीं होता है. मतलब प्लाज्मोडियम में भी होता है क्योंकि ये भी तो यूकैरियोट्स है, राइट. सॉरी, यूकैरियोट्स मीन्स हैविंग ट्रू न्यूक्लियस, बट इसमें प्लाज्मोडियम में ट्रू वॉल नहीं है. ऑब्वियसली इट इज वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल, राइट. इट इनगल्फ्स एवरीथिंग एंड इट ग्रोज थ्रू सेवरल फीट. बट अनफेवरेबल कंडीशन में जो स्पोर्स फॉर्म हुए हैं प्लाज्मोडियम्स के, दैट इज हैविंग true walls. Okay, the spores were true walls, means true cell walls. They are extremely resistant and survive for many years because of this true nature of the wall. They are very resistant to extreme conditions and survive for many years. even under adverse condition, just like we saw ऊपर में R की दिखती है. Okay. The spores are dispersed by air currents. इतने बड़े हो जाते हैं कि वो हवा के झोंके से ही like it can spores can be dispersed anywhere in the very light way ऐसा होता है. Moving towards protozoan. All protozoans are heterotrophs. ठीक है, ऊपर क्या था? फ्लाइमोस वे सैप्रोफाइटिक SS. ना प्रोटोजोन, ये प्रोटोजोन्स क्या होते हैं? दे आर हेटेरोट्रॉप. ऑटोट्रॉप्स तो हो गया, सैप्रोफाइट भी हो गया, अब हेटेरोट्रॉप्स आ जाएंगे. All protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predators of parasites. ये प्रेडेटर और पैरासाइट, हेटेरोट्रॉप्स मतलब दूसरे पे डिपेंड कर रहे हैं, तो वो प्रेडेट करके और पैरासिटिक नेचर में वो जा करके लिव करेंगे. सैप्रोफाइटिक ऊपर था, they were just residing along the twigs and leaves. Okay, ऐसा है. So they are believed to be primitive relative of animals. Who are the primitive relatives of animals? Important question here again. Primitive relatives of animals are protozoan. Euglenoids were identical to higher plants. ठीक है, क्योंकि kingdom Protista in starting only we saw it is linking the animal, plant and fungi kingdom. ठीक है, वो protozoans are mostly primitive relatives of animals. There are 4 major groups of protozoan. First, amoeboid protozoan. These organisms, they live in fresh water. See the nature of the living condition. Fresh water and seawater or moist soil. They move and capture their prey by putting out pseudopodia, phosphate. Example as in amoeba. You must be knowing amoeba के पास pseudopodia होता है. That's how they engulf things, है ना? तो the pseudopodia is known as phosphate. Marine forms have silica shell on their outer surface. अब marine form के जो भी protozoans रहते हैं, amoeboid protozoans marine form में जो रहते हैं, उनके पास they are having a silica shell. ठीक है? Some of them such as entamoeba or parasites. Examples of amoeboid protozoans are entamoeba and parasites. Second, flagellated protozoans. Flagellated protozoans, they are the members of this group are either free living, flagellated, free, very, very free, ऐसा, or they are parasitic. They have flagella, flagellated, having flagella, live free or as parasitics. The parasitic form causes diseases such as sleeping sickness. Example of the flagellated protozoan is trypanosoma. Flagellated protozoans was causing the sleeping sickness. है ना? Third is ciliated protozoans. These are aquatic, actively moving organisms because of the presence of thousands of cilia. ऊपर में marine form was having silica shell, या फिर amoeba में pseudopodia था, या फिर flagellated में क्या था कि they were free living, having flagella and they were parasitic also. Ciliated में thousands of cilia, नाम से ही पता चल रहा है. They have a cavity known as gullet. Ciliated protozoans में gullet होता है जो कि एक cavity होता है. That opens to the outside of the cell surface. सेल से बाहर का मतलब एक वो जो दरवाजा बोलते हैं ना, तो it acts like a gate. So the coordination movement of rows of cilia causes the water ladle with food to be steered into the gullet. अब इतने सारे cilia एक coordinated movement करते हैं जिससे वो food अपने गलेट में ले लेता है. Example of ciliated protozoan is Paramecium. Now, sporozoans. This includes diverse organisms that have an infectious spores-like stage in their life cycle. ठीक है, sporozoans spore form होते हैं और infectious form के रहते हैं ये लोग. The most notorious is plasmodium. Now, notorious meaning क्या हो गया ना कि notorious meaning it is causing harm to something. Okay, it is a well-known thing which is known for causing something bad to someone. So that's why the plasmodium, they are plasmodium example malarial parasite. इतना malaria cause करता है, that's why it is very notorious. Okay, which causes malaria, a disease which has staggering effect on human population. Alright, हमने देखा क्या पहला ये अमीबॉइड प्रोटोजोन देखा, फ्लैजिलेटेड प्रोटोजोन देखा, सीलिएटेड देखा एंड स्पोरोजोन्स देखा. ठीक है, अमीबॉइड का क्या था एग्जाम्पल, अमीबा एंड एंटमीबा एंड, ठीक है, अमीबा था पहला एग्जाम्पल पे, एंटमीबा था. फ्लैजिलेटेड का क्या था, ट्राइपेनोसोमा था, ट्राइपेनोसोमा स्लीपिंग सिकनेस कॉज कर रहा. सीलिएटेड प्रोटोजोन का क्या था एग्जाम्पल, पैरामीशियम, पैरामीशियम हैविंग मिलियन ये so many CERs, thousands of CERs. स्पोरोजोन्स में एग्जाम्पल हो गया मलेरियल पैरासाइट से याद रखना प्लाज्मोडियम. ओके, तो दिस इज द एंड ऑफ क्लास प्रोटिस्टा, kingdom protista. Now we'll be moving towards kingdom fungi. Kingdom fungi, we'll be covering kingdom fungi and virus, prions and lichens in another video. Since this is exceeding too much, let's cover that in our next video. Until then, revise this and I'll be uploading the other video. You can watch that later. Alright, please like and subscribe my channel so that you're getting a regular updated videos, and continue your study from now onwards so that it doesn't pile up during your entrance exam. Okay, all the best for your studies, students, and hope you are understanding my content, and whatever feedbacks you're having, comment it down and let me know where else I can improve and what else I can add in my slides or to make it more effective for you to learn. Alright, chal.